So we have some major news that has just come out in the past 24 hours. And that is that President Biden has agreed that he is going to raise taxes. He even said so himself. Now, this is something that we knew was coming. There is no way that we can ensure Social Security and Medicare don't become insolvent within the next 10 years without raising taxes or cutting spending. And Democrats want to ensure that they cut as little as possible, which means they have to raise more money. President Biden is going to release this and release all the details in a little over 1 week. Now, I will provide you more on that update in just a minute. But first, there's another big thing that happened in the past 24 hours, and that is what is going on in the Supreme Court. We know that the Supreme Court is looking into President Biden's student loan forgiveness plan. And as of right now, it's not looking likely that they are going to rule in favor of President Biden. President Biden states that the Education Department has the authority to waive and modify borrowers' debts due to a provision within the HEROES Act. Well, according to Justice Clarence Thomas, he stated that the words waive and modify stop well short of completely canceling a borrower's debt. That's very big. Even Justice Brett Kavanaugh, he said, and I quote, "Some of the biggest mistakes in the court's history were deferring to assertions of executive emergency power. Some of the finest moments in the court's history were pushing back against presidential assertions of emergency power." That's what he said. Now, what I can tell you is that all of the justices believe the same thing, and that is that the Supreme Court cannot push its way into these arguments, cannot make the decisions for Congress. What we know is that Congress controls federal spending, and in this case, this should be a matter for Congress. So the fact that right now that this could be ruled unlawful, this could throw a wrench into the negotiations for Social Security, for the debt ceiling, and the federal budget for 2024. That is important to know because this ruling, we should have an answer on the student debt forgiveness very soon. But now that we're coming back to what President Biden said and talking about the federal budget for 2024, let's address President Biden's plans to raise taxes. Here's what President Biden said just yesterday. He said, and I quote, "On March 9th, I'm going to lay down in detail every single thing, every tax that's out there that I'm proposing. And no one making less than $400,000 is going to pay a penny more in taxes. I want to make it clear, I'm gonna raise some taxes." So that is what President Biden said just yesterday. He is going to raise taxes on those that are making the most money. Those are the billionaires here in the United States. Guess what? Just last week, he met with Senator Bernie Sanders. And they discussed Bernie Sanders' plan to increase revenue to provide more to Social Security. Not to ensure they don't become insolvent, but to provide more. Now, do I think Social Security benefits are going to get an increase in benefits? No, I don't. Do I think we're going to expand Social Security and instead of the full retirement age being 67, we go back to 65? No, I don't. I believe, and this is the same belief that many experts have as well. Again, I'm not calling myself an expert, but what many experts believe is that Democrats understand the task at hand. The task is we have to ensure the solvency of Social Security and Medicare first. That's what we need to do first. After that, then we can provide additional benefits. We can even expand the program. But we have to ensure it's still there within the next 10 years. So we're going to see what happens there. But also, President Biden did say that he has plans to cut the U.S. deficit by $2 trillion over the next 10 years. Okay? So if we just average it out, that would be $200 billion every single year that he is going to be cutting. Now, He is going to reveal these cuts in the upcoming budget proposal, which he says is going to be coming out on March 9th, so a little bit over 1 week. Now, one thing that President Biden has asked of Republicans, President Biden asked Republicans to release their own budget and show the American people where they think we should make some cuts. So, here's what I can tell you. These next few weeks are going to be very crucial, especially when it comes to negotiations. We are going to see another push to strengthen Social Security. That's something that we know. And it's a good thing. It's about time. We have been talking about Social Security for the past 2 years and how many elderly people struggled during the past 2 or 3 years simply because they were being left out. All the money was going to businesses, to PPP loans, to unemployment. It wasn't really going to Social Security recipients. We also know the same thing when it comes to SNAP benefits. There's a good chance we're likely to see poverty increase over the next couple of months, especially due to the reduced SNAP benefits. Many experts believe this is going to create another push for enhanced benefits. So we may see another provision within the next bill, and who knows when this bill is actually going to come to fruition, but we may see another provision within the next bill that is going to enhance SNAP benefits once more. Now, are we going to see it go from whatever you're getting to everybody gets the maximum amount? Probably not. Are we going to see a percentage increase? That is more likely, at least according to many experts. And according to multiple reports, there is going to be another call for aid to Ukraine. I talked about this just the other day. What could we have done with the $100+ billion that we've already sent to Ukraine? Well, we could have done a lot of things. We could have dealt with homelessness. I talked about how there's about 500,000 people here in the United States that are currently homeless. And if we were to give the $100+ billion to them, each one of them would have received $170,000 a piece. Not saying we should do that, but again, that just gives you an idea of how much money we have given away to Ukraine. Again, should we be fighting this battle for Ukraine? Should we be letting other nations step in and provide some support? Or should we be doing 100% of it? That's the real question. Now, again, President Biden vowed to reduce the U.S. deficit by $2 trillion over the next 10 years. So, do we continue to spend on nutrition assistance? Do we continue to spend on Social Security? Do we continue to dish out relief to Ukraine? Again, this is the question. But at the same time, even though President Biden wants to reduce the U.S. deficit by $2 trillion over the next 10 years, he doesn't want to default on the U.S. debts now. So, here's the question. Will Republicans jump on board and help Democrats here in this situation? Or are they going to stick to their asks and demand major cuts now in exchange for their support in raising the debt ceiling once again? Again, these are the major questions that we need answers to. The good thing is, we should have answers to these within the next few weeks. So, that's what we know at this time. As always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share all the latest news and updates. Again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Do me a favor, do 2 things. Hit that like button. Do me a favor, do 2 things. Go ahead, hit that like button. Also, click that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys on the next one.